Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Toxic Rain. Specifically, we're going to be going into how to reduce the mana cost of all our abilities to 0. I know I've mentioned this in passing in previous videos, but I haven't yet made a guide showing all the steps required to do so, and I haven't talked about the opportunity costs of making such a drastic change to our build. I'll also conclude this video by going over the advantages of taking our mana cost down to 0. Now, I know Lighty already made a video on how to reduce mana costs, and some of the steps are the same, although he's coming from an SSF environment, and he's also using faster attacks instead of Divergent Mirage Archer, so his mana multiplier is smaller, and his total cost of his spell is also 7 mana less. So we're doing a bit more drastic changes in order to accomplish 0 mana cost. And some of these changes are really only feasible if you're playing in a trade league. Alright, so let's get into this. This guide assumes you have a 44 base mana cost, which assumes you have level 26 to 30 Toxic Rain. Now, if for some reason you have a Toxic Rain higher than level 30, the mana cost goes up to 13, and we'll have a slightly higher mana cost. But we can actually reduce into the negatives, so now I don't know why you would be getting a level 31 Toxic Rain, but even if you do, you can still get it down to 0. Alright, step 1 would be changing efficacy support to the alt quality Divergent efficacy support. When this is quality to 10% or to 20%, it gets a 10% reduced base mana cost. This takes your mana cost down to 40. Now, what is the opportunity cost of using this gem? Well, the opportunity cost is we cannot use anomalous efficacy. Anomalous efficacy gives us a 10% increased skill effect, and losing 10% skill effect is approximately a 3 to 4% total DPS loss. And that's significant. Alright, so our mana cost is down to 40. Step 2. We need 2 rare jewels, and we need 2 suffixes. They range, I believe, 3 to 5%, and you want to get 5% on it. 5% reduced mana cost of skills. You add them together, that's 10%. Now we have a 36 mana cost. And the opportunity cost of this is we lose a suffix on a rare jewel. And suffixes are where we get our damage on jewels. You can still get damages on prefixes. You can get attack speed on bows. You can also get chaos damage. But the dot multi is the suffix, and that's probably what you guys would be targeting on your rare jewels. The damage over time is also a suffix. Most of the damage mods on jewels are suffixes. So the opportunity cost of losing one suffix is probably 2% total DPS loss per gem. So if you had perfect gems and then you swap them for almost perfect, like 1 damage suffix and this, you're losing 4% total DPS. Now step 3 is replica Conquerors Efficiency. That's a flat -9. We're taking -9 off of 36. Brings it down to 27. What's the cost of doing this? We lose an entire jewel. Conqueror's Efficiency gives us a 4% skill effect, which is okay, but it's not the huge DPS that you can get on, say, a Watcher's Eye or a rare jewel. You're going to lose about 4% total DPS, and I assume you're going to have a 7% life prefix on the jewel as well, so you're going to lose 7% life as well. Now, -9 to mana cost is fairly huge. It's twice as much as what we accomplish in step 2 and twice as much as what we accomplished in step 1. So even though this seems like a pretty big opportunity cost, the benefit is equally massive. Now step 4. This is the step that you probably won't be able to accomplish unless you're in a trade league. Well, I suppose step 1 is also very annoying to do in SSF, but it's possible. Now, step 4, you need to unveil an Elreon Ring, and you need to get this as you unveil it. Because when you unveil something with the betrayal, it's a tier higher than the tier you can craft it. So when you unveil it, it's -9 to 10 instead of -7 to 8. And because life catalysts, they're called fertile catalysts, can boost it by 20%. If you divine this to 10% and you put 20 life catalysts on it to max out your quality, this will actually be -12. So if we're taking 12 off of 27, now we're down to a 15 mana cost. You can get this prefix craft unveiled on an amulet or on a ring, and it needs to be specifically dropped from Elreon, and it needs to say Elreon's veiled on it. You cannot get this from a regular betrayal ring. If you're in trade, I would set up a live search that has this mod and then also has other decent mods. This ring right here is what I'm currently wearing. It has life, it has resistances, the attack speed is pretty nuts, but you're not going to find that on trade, I don't think. You'll be really lucky if you do. Just try and get this with as much other good stats as you can. Now, what's the opportunity cost of doing this? It's somewhat ambiguous. I don't think there are very many prefixes that are a must-have in this build. Life is obviously nice to have, but this would be a very good prefix to have, so the opportunity cost is probably pretty low, although you have to factor in it's going to be really hard to get a ring that has this and also has very good other mods, so that is also the opportunity cost. You need to be able to find a ring that can fit your build with the suffixes. Alright, now we're going on to the final step. Now you need to take whatever you didn't use here, so if this is an amulet, you need to use 2 rings. If this is a ring, you need to use a ring and an amulet, and you need to bench craft the Elreon prefix. This time it's going to be 6 or 7 because we're using the bench. And if you quality it to 15%, the 7 will go up to an 8. You can't get -9, even if you put 20 quality, it's still going to be -8. So if you want to save some money on catalysts, just go up to 15% and stop. Now, we were at 15, so if we do this on 2 jewelry, we go down to technically -1. So you only need to quality one of them. You can leave the other one at 7. And the opportunity cost, it's somewhat ambiguous. It's probably less of a cost than this one because you can just look for a ring that has really good rolls and open prefix. You don't have to look for a ring that specifically was Elreon Unveiled and also has good rolls. Alright, now we're going to talk about the upside of doing all of this very drastic changes to our build. The first upside is you can unspec any mana related node on the tree. Now if we look at the passive tree, I still have this spec'd. I can unspec this. I don't need to get health and mana flasks every 3 seconds. Another solution a lot of people were using is speccing into here to get another mana flask gained every 3 seconds, and another 2 here. So you would not be doing this, obviously. You wouldn't want anything that boosts mana regen or flasks on your passive tree. So you get points back, and that's big. Another benefit, in Baron maps, those mana squares are not annoying because you have 0 mana cost, so if they drain your mana to 0, who cares? Another benefit, frees up a flask slot. If you look at my flasks, no mana flask. I'm using a sulfur flask. This is 6% more DPS. It helps offset some of those opportunity costs of losing DPS potential. We can go up to 100% mana reserved. So I'm able to squeeze in level 14 vitality. I have 3 mana. Now, technically you can get this down to 0, but if I level my vitality up to level 15, I believe I'll go down to like -1 mana, so I won't be able to use it. But you can like push your mana to basically like as close to 0% as you can. And because I'm using level 14 vitality, I'm getting 168 HP per second just passively, which is nice. And the final reason you want to hit 0 mana cost is simple. It's just one less thing to worry about. You don't have to think about mana at all. You will always be able to cast no matter what. Now, this begs the question, should you be trying to hit 0 mana cost? A lot of these changes are very easy to do. The crafting yourself, the Elreon, is very easy to do. The Conquerors, Replica Conquerors, is very easy to do. Having 2 rare jewels with 5% reduced mana cost of skills, it's fairly easy to do if you have the open jewels available. And this, this is pretty cheap. It used to be 20C, it might have gone up a little bit, it's still fairly cheap. So whether or not you want to get your mana to 0, or you just want to get it to very low, I would suggest investing in as many of these as you are able to, because the less mana cost you get, the more fun this skill is, and if you get it to 0 mana, it feels insane. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any other methods you guys are using to make Toxic Rain feel good mana-wise. Maybe I'm just insane for taking such drastic measures, and there's another easier way to just never worry about mana. Love to hear it in the comments. Feel free to subscribe if you want more Toxic Rain videos. I will see you guys in the next one.